Hi, hi. Before I start talking, I just want to say, well, you don't really know me at all, and you owe nothing to me. You can completely ignore what I'm saying right now and what I'm asking of you. But before you click off the video or skip to me actually talking, I just ask you to do me this one favor. Even if you don't like the video or just hate it entirely and dislike it all the way down, just give it the biggest thumbs up you can possibly give it. I just want to ask you to give some love to a friend of mine that I've only barely known. Toga. Toga isn't going to be here for very long. In fact, Toga has until the end of this week, and I want you to just go and say something nice to Toga. Let Toga know that you're a friend. Well, here's a link to Toga's channel, so to subscribe to it. There's no videos on there. There's nothing entertaining to watch, but just just in memory of Toga, can we let those numbers raise up? And also, here's a link to the video that you can find Toga commenting on. And while you're at it, in the comment section of that video, um, can you give some support to the others in that comments? Give them some love. Let them know that they matter, that they're heard. Let them know who those who are having a bad time know that it can get better, and that there's always going to be someone right there to support them. And if you need to open up yourself, then this is a pretty good place to do it. It's a pretty safe place to vent, and you're not going to be judged for it. Anyways, well, let's get more into me talking. Hello, everyone. Hi. It is a pretty nice morning out. Well, today, for me at least. I hope you're doing well, and if you aren't, I hope that maybe I can make your day a lot more cloudy. In a good kind of way, you know? Uh, that being said, having a cloudy mind was never really a saying that made a lot of sense to me. Because, well, you see, if the sky was empty, then it wouldn't be as interesting. Nothing ever really takes shape, and it would just be the blank blue. Clouds don't ever form, and nothing can ever really come to mind. Whenever you look up at the clouds, you can't find any shapes in the sky. You could also say that, like the sky, your mind is blank because it's having trouble coming up with something to say or thinking of an idea. But actually, now that I'm saying that out loud, the sky can be filled with clouds, and they could just make the sky become clustered with a large fluffy mass that doesn't retain its own individual shape, which makes you have to sit there and try to figure out what you're currently looking up at. Okay, yeah, I guess cloudy mind is an appropriate phrase for that. Anyways, it's kind of nice to think that how the sky is a perfect visual representation of our own mind. How it can never seem to find a perfect balance of being clustered and barren. For now, let's try to clear your head the best as possible, no, for the time being. Now, I want you to relax and breathe with me for now. I know, you probably already do this. You probably already watch videos of trying to calm your anxiety and trying to be a lot less stressed. And you're probably clicking out the video right now thinking this is just another generic breathing tutorial with me randomly talking. Uh, but no, I gotta breathe too. I'm just as anxious as talking and saying my thoughts as you are. And it's also just really nice. And if you're gonna breathe anyways, why not breathe with me? I mean, if you're in private, lie down. And if you're in public, don't worry. I doubt anyone will notice or actually be offended by you breathing. Now, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe, breathe out. Breathe in. Just like the sky, we can never really find a balance of being thoughtful, and whatever we come up with comes down to being an empty sky or a large mass of clouds because we're overthinking multiple thoughts that are coming into our mind. I want to tell you that it's okay. It's nothing worth being upset over. The sky isn't consistent either. If it was, you just see the same shapes pass us by and it wouldn't be as interesting. There'll be days where the sky is blocked out and it's a dark gray, and times where it's clear and a nice bright blue, but it never stays that way. It'll become clear eventually, and times it'll become cloudy again. It'll come up with something. I've had times where I couldn't get out what I'm feeling. I really still can't get out the way I'm feeling a lot. So I guess what I'm saying is do more as I say and not as I do. I would plan out what I say in my head in a perfect dream scenario where I say everything in minute and fully understandable detail, and that was never really the case. It never happened. I would always stumble on my words and lose sight of what I'm saying as my mind just went blank, or it became cluttered with multiple thoughts rushing into my head. And it sucks not knowing what to say, or you do know, but you just don't know how to form it right, or recall how you're feeling. For me, I have learned a trick to help me never lose sight on what comes to mind, and also try to better myself in communicating. What I started doing was writing, technically typing, because I'm going to be honest, note typing the notes is a lot more efficient than writing on a piece of paper. If you're typing the notes, it's a lot faster than to click it, and my wrist, I cannot write for the life of me. It just kills my wrist, and my handwriting is so bad anyways. And it's a lot more convenient just pull up your phone and start typing. Then again, you can just have a tiny notepad and be like the fastest writer in the world. But either way, whatever works for you, whatever pops into your head, write it down. Whatever you hear, write it down. Remember, we're not born as literary geniuses. It takes time with figuring out what to say to people or how to say anything to anyone in general. I'd be the first to tell you that writing stuff down that comes to mind is a serious lifesaver. It doesn't matter what it is or where it happens. If it pops into your head, if you witness it, if you hear it, write it down. If you see something that makes you chuckle, you write it down. If you hear an interesting fun fact, you write that down. If you get hit by a car walking across the street to a local Wendy's, because why would you choose any other establishment to get some French toast sticks at 2:37 a.m., and it turned out the car that hit you turned out to be a clown car on the way to the local circus, which was conveniently before me right next to a failing McDonald's. As it should be, you clown. You get a lot more creative the more you think and write down your ideas of whatever comes to mind. Just write whatever first pops into your mind and just go off of that. And you'll get better from that. But that is only half of getting better at thinking. The other half is a little bit harder. Writing is a great start to practice on how to form what to say in a quick split second scenario, but then there is actually talking to people. I've never been good when it comes to talking to people for the longest time. I've only gotten worse because I would stay silent and avoid interacting with people as much as possible. Just about most of my life, I'd avoid interacting with people unless I knew them, to the point where everyone believed I was an introvert. But that's actually not true at all. I love being around people. I'm a massive extrovert. I just am afraid to do it. I love being around people. I love talking to people. I love getting to know people. I love understanding people. I want to understand people. I want to be there for people that I don't even know, but I'm afraid to. I'm afraid of their reactions. It comes down mainly to circumstances when it comes to me interacting with people, such as people around me wouldn't talk to me unless given a certain location or time where they would suddenly decide to talk to me even though they wouldn't talk to me in any other scenario. Or they would just assume that I also agree with something that they think or they like, and that would be their only reason for actually coming up and interacting. I'm just as guilty as assuming, though. I assume if I speak my mind that I would just be hated for what I think, because it's not how they think. And I have good reason for being afraid of that. From a lot of my experiences, I avoid interactions because I'm insecure of what I think. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who's guilty of this. Being ashamed of what we think, that someone will disagree and take control of the conversation, expect us to agree with them, but you don't. You just cave in, though, and are afraid to disagree with them because then you'll be frowned upon, especially if it's a majority, and isolated from them. And it would suck even more if it's your loved ones. And so you try to cater to those thoughts, or else you'll just be ostracized by them until you agree with them and say that you're wrong. I know that feeling a lot. It's a pretty well used practice by those with a really strong conviction of what they believe, with little care about others' thoughts. Even if they believe it's right, everyone has the freedom to live how they want to, and it's hard to try to stick up for yourself. This is another way writing can be really useful. Whenever you're in a situation like this and you feel like you're the one at fault, ask yourself, am I harming anyone? Is what I'm doing something incredibly disgusting and malicious? Are you being forceful to someone? Are you forcing someone to live their life the way you want them to? Are you being hostile towards them for no good reason? Do you have other darker ulterior motives? And if you don't have any of those, then congratulations, you are not the problem. And you have a perfectly fine mindset. Then again, the idea of a bad mindset is subjective to everyone, unless it's drastically horrific, shallow, and downright despicable. For example, I could say that the fact that you think McDonald's is superior to Wendy's, how dare you, doesn't make you a bad person. Just because you have different points of views doesn't mean you can't have a good interaction with somebody. I would keep an open mind to what someone else has to say to you. Sometimes it can be a genuinely good mindset, or you could at least understand where they're coming from. You just got to show them the same respect for what they think, and you should expect that same respect right back to you. And if they don't want to offer that same courtesy, then that's probably when you want to break away from that interaction, unless you're fairly hopeful that you can somehow sway their mind to at least see where you're coming from. But don't let a bad interaction keep you from going out and meeting other people. Also, don't just go out and meet people who think the same as you and trapping yourself in your own personal echo chamber. That'll just make you biased to your own thoughts, and you'll never really understand how other people feel besides yourself and the group that you associate yourself with. Don't be condescending to them for what they think just because it's not the way you think. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with someone, but I know why you're afraid of disagreeing with someone. Conflict. Conflict is probably the biggest factor of wanting to avoid interacting with people entirely. Someone's always trying to look for a reason to get upset and mad at someone or cause a fight, while others just want to avoid that conflict entirely and just live a normal life, especially nowadays. I would love to talk to these people. I would love to understand, why do you hate? Why do you go out of your way to harass or be upset with someone who you don't even know, or you show no relation to, and who has no effect on your life, and yet you can still take the time to be hostile towards them. But that sounds like a pretty good topic for another day, and I think that today's CloudyHead is already kind of messy as it is. Believe it or not, I didn't completely follow through on my own trick. I really did try to do this off the bat, right off the bat, with no prior thought or really writing down anything of what to say. In fact, I did a take of this before and actually went to go write down a more consistent and coherent idea of what I should talk about, because I did have something in mind, but I just didn't really think of a way to form that. I'm still having trouble with coming up with what to say, and it's fine. I'll get better. We'll both get better at opening up and talking to others. We will get better at understanding others. We'll get better. I know we will. I hope that I've somehow been able to help you out today, and feel free to comment as much as you like, and comment just about anything you want to. I will try to be there as much as possible in the comments. I will try to be very, very open with people who comment on this channel and who actually really like what I say. Thank you for taking the time to hear what I have to say, and I hope that you can apply that to your life. Remember to stay optimistic.